Hi everyone! So we're going to do the emotional regulation worksheet number 3. During this worksheet, they really focus on having to describe your emotions. This module, since it's called emotional regulation, in order for you to regulate your emotions, you're going to need to know how to describe the emotion that you're feeling. So that's why during the beginning of this module, they really truly try to focus on you knowing how to describe the emotion that you're experiencing. So on the worksheet number 3, they're going to do a model describing emotions, how it works, how fast does an emotion develop. Let's get into that now. Alright, so here's the chart for the model of describing emotions. Now I understand it looks a little bit messy, so I'm going to walk you through it. We're going to start off by the prompting event. Now this can be inside or outside, meaning something that happened to you or something that you are feeling inside. Now this may seem a little confusing, but the way that we develop an emotion is so quickly that we may not realize we're doing this. So after something happens to you, whether internally or externally, there's always going to be an interpretation of that event, which we based ourselves off our past history and experiences. From the interpretation of the event, instantly we have a reaction to it, whether it's a brain change, face and body change, sensations, and action urges. Usually, these changes that occur are involuntary, which means there's no control over these changes. Your body just naturally does it, depending on that interpretation of event. And or some facial expressions, posture, expressions of words, and action of doing something. Now with these actions, these are voluntarily done, meaning there are some control to these actions. There is a bit of a thought process when doing these actions, like facial expressions, expressions of words, and an action of doing something. Now, once that we've gone through the interpretation of event, the brain changes, the face and body language, we are able to put a name to this emotion. What they like us to understand is that this name of emotion is not who we are. It's just a feeling that we're currently experiencing. Now that we have developed a name for that emotion that we're feeling, it's going to take us to an after effect, or it's going to prompt us to another possible feeling or another possible interpretation of this event. And honestly, that's how you start feeling so many things at once, because you do this over and over. Wasn't that pretty cool to understand? I think it was really awesome to learn that. The fact that when you are in a situation, so many emotions just start popping up and you don't realize how it happens until they break it down for you and they let you know. There's steps to how you got to feeling sad, upset, frustrated, jealous, mad. There's steps to how you got there. And I really liked that. I really liked knowing that, wow, like, you're so caught up in your emotions, you're so caught up on the situation that's happening that you don't realize that you're doing something as each second goes by. I thought that was really cool to learn. Now, the next step is the homework sheet for that for this section. And we're going to start focusing on that now. So this is the homework worksheet number 3. Steps for reducing painful emotions. How do we do that? By reducing vulnerability to the emotional mind. The next things that we're going to go over are all the bullet points to how to reduce. First, you need to treat any physical illnesses. If you have back pain, if you have knee problems, anything physical, make sure that you're treating it, that you're getting the correct medication or treatment for that. Second, you're having a balanced diet, eating relatively healthy. Greasy foods and fatty foods can really alter your mood, so definitely pay attention to that. Third, any drugs or alcohol, whether it's prescription, any of those kind of things can seriously alter your mood and the way that you view situations. Trying to lean off of it is a huge thing. You will see a big difference. Fourth, balance sleep. Whether you're receiving too much sleep or you're receiving not enough sleep. Too much or too little sleep can also change your mood. Definitely try to keep a track of how much sleep you're taking in and adjust. Fifth, you want to take in enough exercise. Now, that does not mean that you need to be a huge bodybuilder, but just taking a walk. Do maybe go up a flight of stairs. Take in the needed exercise daily. That's a huge difference to the way that you think and view things. And lastly, mastery. What that means is pretty much mastering all of these aspects. Treating physical illnesses, eating a balanced diet, not taking any drugs, sleeping correctly, exercising. When you incorporate all those aspects into your life, it truly does make a difference. So that's something to really look into and really adjust accordingly to your lifestyle and what you're looking for. During this section, they want you to kind of do this as like a daily diary. They want you to focus on how did you increase on positive events. Ideally, you should be doing something at least every day that you truly love and enjoy. But it's understandable that due to everybody's schedule, that may not be possible. But this goal is to pretty much try to get you to change that rhythm. So see how your week is and adjust. If you never do it, then maybe try to do it once a week. If you do it at least once or twice a week, then maybe improve it by doing it 2 or 3 times a week. It all depends on how you already are within your life, and then just try to increase it gradually. The next one read long-term goals worked on. I personally didn't understand that quite well, and I didn't really like when it said long-term, so I actually changed it to short-term goals that I worked on. And my example is that I at least went to the gym twice a week. Now, that's the cool thing about this, is that you can change the wording to things to what best way you understand it. And honestly, that's what worked for me. So if it gets you to do something positive, change it around. You don't have to follow this structurally the way that it's made. Next, any relationships that you've attended, meaning any relationships that you are working on. For me, it's the relationship with my boyfriend, my parents, and my friends. I'm always working on those relationships every day. They always like to challenge me every so often, so I definitely have to be working on them. This one is always fun. Avoid avoiding. I'm sure you guys are experts just like me. I hate this, but to get the best results, you shouldn't be avoiding your emotions and problems. Definitely deal with them head on. So the following is like a checklist for yourself to show you how mindful you have been of the positive experiences that have occurred. Same thing for this part, but this part more is about the emotion. Did you observe the emotion? Did you experience the emotion? Remember, it's not good to avoid. Not act out of the emotion. Just because you're feeling something doesn't necessarily mean it's true. And times that I felt different about it. Remind yourself that just because you're feeling this doesn't mean you've always felt like this. And last but not least, opposite action. How did I act opposite to the current emotion? Try to do something different than what you're experiencing. Instead of yelling and screaming and acting out of anger, do something opposite. Do a kind gesture. Go out for a walk. Take a breather. Do opposite of the action you have the urge. How did you guys feel about that? I know it is a lot of information. It's something new, and you definitely should probably think about maybe replaying that video all over again. It all depends also, and sorry. It all depends also what your current mood is right now. Are you, in a happy place right now? Are you like listening to this video while crying and being upset? You may not necessarily take in the information oh so well. This is something that you need to be in a good headspace for, to really capture the idea, to really understand the concept of what the book is telling you, to how to interpret things. Also, you're gonna get better with it with practice. This is new information for you, so it's gonna be difficult to understand the concept. You have to give it a try yourself. Use examples within your own life and do like that first worksheet that we did just now, with the model describing. Use an example and go through each step describing that situation so that you could see how an emotion develops so fast. Do that a few times throughout the day, throughout the week. How many times you feel like how you can feel more comfortable about it, do it. It shouldn't matter. There's no rule to this, to tell you the truth. There's no rule of you have to do this 3 times a day. You have to do it at least one day. There's no rule to this. It's honestly, it's whatever works for you. It really is. And that's why I like it. Obviously, the more you practice it, the better you get. That's like the key of life. That's everything you do in life. So keep that in mind. But again, you can do this at your own speed, however works for you. So I really liked the first part. At first when it was introduced to me, I didn't really like it. I didn't really understand it. But like I said, I wasn't maybe in the best mindset when I first heard about it. So I wasn't so open to it. Now that I'm rereading it, I'm actually doing this video and I'm like teaching you guys about it. It makes total sense. So I actually really like that whole describing the emotion thing. I've always loved the whole reducing vulnerability to the emotional mind. Those are key elements. Those bullet points that I showed you about taking care of any physical or mental illnesses. Actually, I didn't even say that. I only stuck to physical. But definitely, absolutely, any mental illnesses that you may have that you need medications for, you need to take those medications. Eating a healthy, balanced diet, taking the correct amount of sleep, not taking any drugs or alcohol, or at least decreasing that amount, and exercising. All those are huge variables as to how you feel throughout the day, how you react, how you think, how you view life. All those impact that. So as much as you may not think they do, especially if in every single area you lack in it. You crappy food, and you oversleep like 12 hours a day, and you drink every other night, and you hardly ever work out, you put that all together, yeah, I would be probably pretty upset all the time too. And I would be negative, and I would just not give a shit about anything. So it honestly really does a huge impact in your life. You might want to do a couple evaluations on yourself. See what you're unhappy with. See what you're okay with. So yeah, that second part to the homework, that whole checking off list, I thought that was an awesome idea. I'm gonna see if I can maybe do something kind of like from that, kind of make like a cool checklist for you guys to do. I personally wanted to even do that for myself because I love lists. Lists are just perfect and easy for me to do. I love like the whole process of checking off. I even think I even commented that to my therapist at one point, and she said that a lot of people do like checklists because it gives you that sense of accomplishment. When you actually physically check off, something from your list, you can see that you have been proactive during the day, that you have been doing something positive. So it is actually, a really good skill to implement, and I'm probably gonna go and see if I can do something cool for you guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'm going to be working on the next one. That will be Emotional Regulation 4. Take care, guys. Thank you again for watching. Love you all.